Straight ahead on 12 News, going out of business. The New Hope mainstay impacted by a bankruptcy announcement. Then, why there's growing fears about coyotes in Brooklyn Park. But first, the dangerous police chase that rattled rush hour commuters.
They were fleeing at speeds varying from 70 to 95 miles an hour on three wheels.
12 News starts right now. Police say a juvenile is responsible for the high-speed chase through Golden Valley this week that lasted 17 miles and ended in Maple Grove.
It all started with a 911 call for an attempted burglary. The story now from Delane, Cleveland.
Tuesday morning in Golden Valley,
They broke into a house, shattered the window.
police say a woman called 911 to say that someone was attempting to break into her home along Meadow Lane. She provided both a clothing and vehicle description.
And so officers responded and got there very quickly, and by the time they got there, the people that had been trying to break into this house had left, but they hadn't left the area.
Golden Valley police eventually found them in the vehicle, hiding in the alley of a nearby home along Westwood Drive. They didn't go unnoticed. That's because their headlights were still on.
Luckily, a lot of criminals aren't overly smart, or they forget just that one thing that's a telltale sign.
As officers approached, the suspects drove away, cut through a lawn next to Breck's school, and made their way to Highway 55.
Westbound 55, passing Evergreen Lane on the right shoulder.
What ensued next was a dangerous high-speed chase during rush hour that went on for 17 miles.
Almost immediately, one of the tires on this truck was gone, and so they were fleeing at speeds varying from 70 to 95 miles an hour on three wheels.
Audio taken from the website Minnesota Police Clips paints a picture of the pursuit.
Plymouth squads are with us, K9. If she runs, do not get out. K9 will deploy.
They absolutely weren't stopping at red lights. They put the safety of everyone else in grave danger. And for police, it's always a balancing act as to whether you continue a pursuit or whether you end it, because it is too dangerous.
From Highway 55, the suspects made their way onto County Road 101 in Maple Grove.
Shoot Road, County Road 101, off into the woods. Off into the woods, stay in your car.
That's where they lost control of the truck, which turned out to be stolen.
We're code 4, all three in custody.
The end of an ordeal where, fortunately, nobody was hurt.
Golden Valley hasn't had this kind of pursuit, I don't think, ever, which is good. Hopefully this is the last one for a very long time.
In Golden Valley, Delane, Cleveland, 12 News.
Golden Valley police say the main suspect, 17-year-old Kavion Barnett of Minneapolis, faces one felony count of fleeing a police officer in a motor vehicle. Burglary charges could be forthcoming, but Chief Carlson said that might require forensic evidence.
A Minneapolis man accused of soliciting Crystal Little League baseball players for sex learned his punishment today. A judge sentenced Michael Hammer to 120 days in the workhouse and 5 years probation. Hammer must also register as a sex offender for the next 10 years. Hammer had contacted Crystal Little League players through Facebook. A concerned parent contacted police, who then set up a sting. Hammer arranged to meet one of the boys at Becker Park, but that boy turned out to be an undercover cop. Under the terms of his probation, Hammer is not allowed to have contact with minors and can't be around ballparks, swimming pools, and other places where children are present. The announcement that Hostess Brands is going out of business will have a direct effect on more than 36 workers in New Hope.
The maker of iconic treats like Twinkies and Ding Dongs filed a motion to liquidate with U.S. bankruptcy court. For decades, the Hostess Bakery outlet in New Hope has been a popular spot for discounted breads and treats. The outlet store is expected to close in a few days once inventory is cleared out. Around 35 workers will be out of a job, according to city officials. Friday, regular customers mourned the loss of the store and the news that its employees would be out of work.
I know them from just coming in and seeing them. Some of these ladies have been longtime workers, yeah. And that's also sad. What are they going to do for a job?
Nationally, the closing of Hostess means the loss of more than 18,000 jobs.
The Anoka-Hennepin School District is responding to claims that it went too far to get levies approved last year. Voters approved 2 out of 3 Anoka-Hennepin levies last year. A group called the Voters Alliance claims that the district broke state law in promoting the levies. At issue is a flyer that the district sent to voters before the election. The Voters Alliance says public funds were used to promote the views of advocates while opposing views were ignored. In response, Anoka-Hennepin issued a statement saying, quote, "The district did not violate any laws and is confident that it will prevail when it has the opportunity to present the facts to the administrative law judge." The judge has dismissed 2 complaints made by the voters group. A hearing on the 3rd is planned later this month.
If you're a commuter from Maple Grove to downtown Minneapolis, chances are you've been getting home a bit late for dinner. Maple Grove Transit is warning riders about congestion and gridlock in downtown Minneapolis that can delay suburban buses by 20 minutes. They say the problem is in the area of 11th Street and 3rd Avenue. Buses have no choice but to travel through that crowded intersection to get to the starting point of the route. Transit officials say it's a challenging situation and they're working with Minneapolis city officials, but so far there's no solution.
The Brooklyn Park Lions Club is remembering a man who was on a mission to keep kids out of trouble. Bruce Gurley passed away this week. He was 51 years old. 4 years ago, Gurley organized and coached a drum and bugle corps sponsored by the Brooklyn Park Lions Club. The group of 50 kids even marched for the Lions Club National Convention in Minneapolis. And to stay in the corps, they needed to stay out of trouble and maintain good grades. Lions member Lynn Joyner remembers Gurley as a guy who got the best out of kids.
He was very friendly with the kids. They respected him. They called him Mr. Bruce. That was his title, Mr. Bruce, for the kids. And they really respected him. He could be a disciplinarian when he needed to, but he was very kindly to them and really appreciated the kids.
Gurley died suddenly on Wednesday. He had been undergoing treatment for a condition known as pernicious anemia. Funeral arrangements are pending. Coming up, coyotes caught on camera in Brooklyn Park.
Why some people say they are becoming more of a problem. Then later in sports, girls hockey highlights between Wayzata and Andover.
But first, it's a look at your AccuWeather forecast. Coyote sightings are not rare in Brooklyn Park, but one man managed to catch 2 coyotes on camera.
Mike Lenz recently snapped this picture from his back deck. Lenz is on the city's Recreation and Parks Advisory Commission, and he wants people to be aware that coyotes can be more than just a nuisance.
They're becoming a danger. I know I've talked to people who will be walking the paths in Brooklyn Park and have been confronted by coyotes and followed back to their house. They're very aggressive.
Brooklyn Park Police say garbage, pet food, and small animals will draw coyotes out of hiding. And police say once in a while they do deal with coyotes that have lost their fear of humans. Well, here's something you might not know. The makeup of Brooklyn Park actually mirrors the demographics of the United States.
And that makeup is increasingly diverse. Now, Brooklyn Park is getting national attention for its role in helping out immigrants. Reporter Shannon Slaton explains why.
A meeting of African immigrants at Brooklyn Park City Hall began in a familiar way Thursday night.
Start with food, which is not unusual in most African settings.
Most of the people here immigrated from Liberia.
How strangers ought to be treated.
And they want to give feedback about their experience settling in Minnesota.
Each African immigrant that comes to the state of Minnesota can tell you and will tell you they've had some lukewarm experiences as far as being welcomed to great experiences.
Moderator Noble Fonbule says his experience coming to Minnesota in 1993 was a good one. His opinion and others here will become part of long-term statewide research that might influence future policy.
Make effort to understand immigrant concerns, what some of their issues are, their experiences in their homeland.
We are actually a snapshot of America. If you look at our demographics, we almost trend exactly what the country is. So we think that what we have here is a little special.
Brooklyn Park Mayor Jeff Lundy will be talking about that special relationship his city has with its immigrant communities in an upcoming national forum.
What we also found is a lot of communities have a new immigrant community, and Brooklyn Park is very diverse, and we happen to have a good story with the librarian community that we've established.
Mayor Lundy points to success stories like the New Americans Academy, which was established to help immigrants understand law enforcement. And another success story in the founding of a relationship with Kakata, Brooklyn Park's new sister city in Liberia.
We actually went to Liberia, and we actually set up a sister city that's meaningful, not just something to name a room after.
Mayor Lundy will depart in a few weeks for Boston to be a part of a panel on how cities can better communicate with their immigrant neighbors. And the findings from the research gathered in Brooklyn Park on Thursday night won't be completed until 2015. Mike and Alex.
All right, thanks a lot, Shannon. Still ahead, the oohs and ahs of holiday lights.
We will string together some outdoor decorating tips coming up in just a moment. But first in sports, a look ahead to Totino-Grace's Saturday night semifinal showdown in the high school football playoffs. John Jacobson is in next. Football semifinals this weekend, and you know you're doing pretty good when you come into the semifinals and you're undefeated.
Yeah. It means you're still playing.
That's right.
One thing, yeah, and then a chance to advance to the prep bowl, perhaps. The Totino-Grace football team is taking aim at another state title. The Eagles meet Bemidji in the Class 5A semifinals Saturday night. To prepare playing at the Metrodome this week, the Eagles worked out at the Vadnais Sports Dome in Vadnais Heights. Undefeated Grace has turned away all challengers so far and played very well in dispatching Apple Valley 42-14 in the state quarterfinals.
I really love the way we played. Coach said it was the best game we had all year, and I think that's true. Offense had a great game, defense had a great game. We were flying around and having a lot of fun.
This week's opponent, Bemidji, was in the state title game in Class 4A last season, finishing as runner-up to Rocori. The Lumberjacks aren't well known to the Grace guys or to many in the Twin Cities, but they cannot be overlooked.
They look like a really good team. I know the type of offense that they run is making us have to switch up our defense a little bit to be able to fight against their strengths to make sure that we can get the best outcome.
Some teams, when they get there, they sort of relax, like we made it there, but coaches tell us, you're there. The competition's even higher. You got to bring even more effort. You got to be even more focused.
Totino-Grace and Bemidji kick off at 7 o'clock Saturday night at the Dome. Wayzata is playing Eden Prairie in the 6A semifinals tonight, Friday. Totino-Grace and Wayzata will be two of the area teams. We'll have players represented on our Sports Jam all-area teams coming up the week after next. Jay Wilcox and I will be announcing our annual Sports Jam football offense and defense on Sports Jam the week of November 26th. And this coming week, November 19th through the 21st, we will reveal our choices for the Sports Jam boys and girls soccer and volleyball teams. Sports Jam airs every Monday through Wednesday at 3:30, 8, and 10:30 p.m. here on Channel 12. In girls hockey, the Wayzata Trojans return a veteran group to the ice this season. After 2 road wins, the Trojans played their home opener Thursday against a 2-0 Andover club. First period, and Wayzata goalie McKenna Lorenz makes one of her 8 saves in the period to keep the game scoreless. Coach Becky Wacker's team comes out strong in the second. Nice pass from Carly Noble to Ellen Rethwich for the goal. Gets the Trojans on the board first, 5.5 minutes into the second. About 5 minutes later, it's Haley Hobday with the rush. Her shot off a defender's skate right to Mara Doherty, who knocks the puck home, and it's 2-0 Wayzata. The Huskies get a big goal in the final 15 seconds of the second. Mackenzie Aguilar picks the top left corner with her shot, and it's 2-1 after 2. But the Trojans get their 2-goal margin back early in the third period. Abby Kroll with the big shot from the point scores. And that makes it 3-1 Wayzata, and that's the final as the Trojans improve to 3-0 on the season.
We were excited to have our winning home opener, and we're hoping to keep our undefeated title as long as we can. And it's a good stepping point to look into the season. It's a good basis for us to really open up and see what we can do this season and try to get as far as we can.
The Blake Bears should again be one of the state's best girls hockey teams in Class A. The Bears played their second game of the new season Thursday night. Blake at home to face Owatonna. First period, a couple of nice passes here by the Bears. Set up Danny Cameronese for the quick shot and goal, and it's 1-0 Blake. Later in the period, Kate Fraley picks up the loose puck, fights off the defender, and scores the Bears' second goal of the night. And 2-0 Blake after one. Owatonna gets on the scoreboard in the second period. Abby Sawyer turns and fires here, and it's a 2-1 game. But it's all Blake from there. Camonese takes the pass in the wing and goes in to score her second goal of the night to make it 3-1. Then Camonese with a nice assist, setting up Lacey Barton on the doorstep for the goal. Blake wins its second straight to start the season. 7-1 Bears is the final. And that's a look at sports for today.
All right, thanks a lot, John. Traditions can be hard to break, especially when it comes to holiday decorating.
But coming up next, why one expert says it's time to buck tradition. Well, this weekend in Plymouth, you can enjoy live music and embrace works of art. It's the first annual Plymouth Arts Fair at the Plymouth Creek Center. More than 30 juried artists will display their work. The Arts Fair takes place from 10 until 5 on Saturday, from noon to 5 on Sunday. There's also a special activity area for the kids. And the live music can be heard each day from 1 to 4, and admission is free. With Christmas around the corner, you may be thinking about a special way to light up your home.
This week in the garden, Renee Bonneau shows you what's easy on the eyes and the environment.
We've got warm weather coming this weekend, and you probably have family coming into town. It's the perfect time to put up holiday lights, and Heidi Highland shows us what options are out there.
So these are the traditional white twinkly lights.
Right off the bat, Heidi explains why it's time for decorators to buck tradition and buy LED.
Not only does it pull less power, but it also saves resources of purchasing more lights year after year.
LEDs aren't cheap. A string of 100 mini lights can cost about $20 compared to incandescents that are $5 or less. But Heidi says they're worth it.
We all know that frustration of getting the lights out of the box the next season and they don't work. So you need to buy more. Well, the LEDs have a 3-year guarantee.
And as LEDs grow in popularity, we're seeing more variety of colors and sizes.
When LEDs first came out, everybody remembers sort of that halogen blue look. And nobody really liked it. But now there's cool white or warm white that have more of an amber tinge to them, and that blue is really gone.
These fuzzy LED balls make a great centerpiece.
This is a way to pretend that the snow's come down and you've made a couple of snowballs.
Some traditions are hard to break, like these bubbling lights that don't have an LED option, but keep an eye on them.
So these may be fun on a tablescape or something as well, because you can really watch them.
They're very hot. I can't imagine people used to put something like this on their tree. No wonder there were tree fires.
Heidi says that's another reason LEDs are better. They don't heat up and cause that risk.
You'll find all these options and a couple more on our website, 12.tv. For In the Garden, Renee Bonneau, 12 News.
It still feels a little early to me, but it is going to be nice this weekend.
I'd rather put it up this weekend than wait until it's icy and cold
That's
and then
true.
get up on the ladder.
That's it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
Stay with us. Community Corner is coming up next. Have a great weekend, everyone.